Kid. 40 years ago, I was Sister Sarah Freiberger. I'd come to St. Benedict the Moor School in 1965 to teach 7th grade. The 60s were a very tumultuous time for civil rights. Civil rights legislation was passed in 1964. In 65, there was a boycott in Milwaukee of the public school system, and there was a number of freedom schools that the public school children were invited to attend. Well, the Freedom School was an alternative school for the children to come to for a day or two while the schools were being boycotted. And I think it was just really meant to be a wake-up call to say that the Milwaukee Public Schools were not serving the needs of the inner city students for a number of reasons. When I first came in 1965, I was asked to be the principal, but the person who asked me to be the principal said, because I was also teaching 7th grade, she said, "Don't worry, there's nothing to do. You just have to open the mail at the end of the day." But as I look back on it, I think the reason that it was supposed to be such an easy job was that people in authority, they all knew that St. Benedict the Moor was going to close at the end of the 1966-67 school year. The Capuchins, who had been funding the school since it was established in 1921, could not continue to absorb that financial responsibility, and the expressway was going to come right through our playground. Plus, the school used to be the original Marquette University, so it was a very, very old building and would have needed an enormous amount of money to keep it open. So in 1966, when I was the principal, it was my job to tell the parents that at the end of that school term, the school would close and they would have to send their children to other schools, which the parents did not take to very well.
The parents are the ones who really instigated this whole idea of you're not going to close. We can't close. We've got to find another answer. And I think that's why when we could no longer be a Catholic school, the idea of an urban day school was an idea that would, if it was ever going to take root, was going to take root in that particular era, because there were no other alternative schools and no other answers besides public school.
Any one person should be credited with Urban Day starting. It's Jane Fagan.
I agree.
Jane Fagan. And her coming home, expressing her concern to Jim about the fact that St. Benedict the Moor was closing, and she was so upset about that, she got him upset. And then, and Jim was just a natural promoter. He was always promoting some cause or other. He did that all his life, and he was good at it.
About Urban Day School is that it was one of the first opportunities for parents to make real choices about where their children would attend.
I have always believed in parental choice for education. I don't think a monopoly is ever good in anything. I think that a healthy competition is good, and I think to have parents look around and become involved in choosing a school is very important for the parents and for the success of that child.
I remember Aaron Tilton always talked about educational excellence and parental involvement. Mm-hmm. The first time I heard that expression was from him. That's 40 years ago. Today, of course, it's common language, terminology. Although today I think it's also more than parental involvement, it's community involvement.
One of the parents who sent her children to our school was Annette Polly Williams, who eventually became the state representative and helped in the state legislature to pass the school choice plan.
I think that Urban Days was not only the first community school in this city. Urban Day started a movement, really. This is on the national agenda today.
Choice may be the word that people use when they talk about abortion, but that is not the choice this story is about. This is about the choice that parents are being offered to take their children out of public school and enroll them in a private school free of charge, tuition paid in full from tax money earmarked for the public schools. This is one choice President Bush is for. Public school educators, on the other hand, are dead set against it. The issue is being put to the test right now in Milwaukee, a city where the public schools do just about as bad a job of educating kids as any place else in America. Under the Milwaukee plan, now being challenged in the courts there, 1,000 low-income inner-city students are given a choice: continue to go to a crowded inner-city school or start fresh in a private school at the taxpayer's expense. Urban Day is the largest of 6 private elementary schools that are taking part in Milwaukee's choice plan. It has a virtually all-black student body, where 3/4 of the kids' parents pay their own tuition, and where 1 of 4 youngsters is a choice student, their tuition paid for by the state. Polly Williams insists that choice is absolutely necessary because Milwaukee's public schools are doing such a bad job.
They have not done a good job at all. 60% of the kids who enter school do not complete. And of the 40%, and of those who stay in and walk across the stage and get that certificate of attendance, 40% of them can't even read the certificate. Only 10% of the kids who walk across the stage can read and write. Only 10%.
Okay, why? Why this big dropout rate, and why can't
Because
kids read?
there's something is wrong with that system.
What is it?
That, if I knew, I would probably be the superintendent. But one thing I can tell you is not because the kids are poor, and it's not because they don't have a father at home, as people are saying. It's not because they are black and they be living in the inner city. Because if that's the case, then you have indicted all 4 of my kids. You've said that all 4 of my children are supposed to be failures now because they came out of those.
You were a welfare mother.
I'm one of those lower social, economically, deprived persons. That's what you're looking at right now.
I thank God for the choice program.
Jeanette Williams is unemployed, a single mother who was lucky enough to get her 8-year-old son into the choice program at Urban Day.
You got to give the children something to get motivated by. And I don't think that it's happening with the Milwaukee public school system.
Challenging public schools, offering alternative education.
And it really reinforced our belief that parents are the primary educators of their children, and that they have the right to choose the school that they want to send their children to. Gratifying, to have started this school 40 years ago, and to see many of the parents employed by the school, to see their children have been in the school, and to see their grandchildren. There's just like a commitment